Welcome to Section 1 of the Introduction to Linux course entitled What is Linux? In this video we will discuss what Linux is and how the architecture works at a high level. The Linux kernel was developed in 1991 by a Finnish student named Linus Torvalds. Linux was designed to run on standard x86 PC hardware and was based on an older operating system called Unix, which required specialized hardware. It was combined with the GNU project, which had developed most parts of an operating system except for a kernel to create a complete OS. The complete project is correctly referred to as GNU Linux, but most commonly it's just called Linux. Because Linux is open source, many developers and companies have taken that source code and modified it to meet specific needs. These various distributions all feature the Linux kernel, but differ in the tools and libraries that they run on top of the kernel, based on the problem they are trying to solve. But what is a kernel? The kernel is the part of the operating system which takes requests from applications and users, then converts those requests into hardware calls which control the various components, such as CPU and memory. The various distributions use similar kernels, but modify their functionality through the use of additional drivers and libraries added to the user space. The term user space refers to the architectural convention of separating out the processes running in system memory. The two areas of memory are kernel space and user space. Kernel space is reserved for running the kernel, kernel extensions, and other various drivers compiled directly into the kernel. User space, sometimes referred to as user land, includes any software that the user has installed, as well as the programs and libraries that make up the operating system. The separation is primarily to protect the kernel from potential problems such as runaway processes or resource hogs generated by the user applications. Linux arranges its storage in a hierarchical file system. The top-level file system is called slash, or root. All the other directories live under the root directory. The various distributions of Linux will have different directories available, but most of them follow the same general layout. Linux follows standard rules about where specific types of files are stored. Some directories of interest are etc. This is where the system's configuration files live. The files may be in a subdirectory named after the specific application or service being configured. Home. System users are given a personal directory under the home directory to store their files. The directory is named after that user. In the example above, the user Cumulus has a home directory of /home/Cumulus. The only user who doesn't get a directory here is the root user. That user's files are stored in the /root directory instead. /user. This directory contains commands which are organized into subdirectories, bin for user-level commands and sbin for administrator commands. Don't worry about where the commands live. Linux uses a path variable similar to other operating systems. Var. System logs are kept under var, and like etc, often there are subdirectories to indicate which specific application or service is being logged. Every object in the Linux file system is considered a file. Files are categorized into various types, the most common being regular files, normal data such as text or binaries, directories, files that are lists of other files, and device files, files which allow access to specific hardware objects. When referencing files, files can be named either using absolute or relative path names. Absolute path uniquely identifies the file from anywhere within the file system. The file name starts with the top-level slash directory, and then lists out all the subdirectories which lead to the file. In the example shown on screen, the absolute path name of this file is /home/cumulus/myfile.txt. Relative path relies on the user's current directory location to locate the file. This has the potential to cause confusion if files with the same name are kept in different directories. Linux uses the concept of a shell. A shell is the technical name for the process that presents a command prompt to the user. It is a command line interpreter which allows both text-based command line input and scripting commands. A number of shells exist and are configured to be used with the various Linux distributions. Currently, the most common shell found on Linux systems is the bash shell. In this example, we show how the bash shell allows variable substitution using the $ character to dereference variables that were predefined. Shells can be modified and customized for individual users through the use of configuration files which are kept in each user's home directory.